Hey, carnivores, this is Anthony Stine, the Practical Carnivore, and you're wondering why I'm in a very different setup than you usually see me in. Usually, you see me in an oddly lit room with a banner of a cow behind me showing you all the tasty cuts you can get off of it as I regale you with the stories of some kind of odd food news thing or whatnot. And I was going to come to you today with my plan to tell you how basically my first 5 days of my carnivore reset, after having some real trouble with stress and all sorts of other problems, how that was going. I'm happy to report to you that the first 3 days went swimmingly. Perfect. And there was going to be a minor hiccup on the third day. I realized I owed my wife a birthday dinner. Her birthday was like a month ago, but just because of life, we couldn't get to a fairly nice place. And so I took her to dinner. And she, being the kind of, the wonderful woman that she is, was quite happy to go to the Brazilian steakhouse nearby. Now, my plan for my carnivore reset was initially to go, not even butter, just go down to salt and my two favorite cuts of beef every day except for a fasting day every week. Tri-tip and sirloin cap, also known as the picanha. But taking her to dinner, that didn't work out so well, so I decided to, have some bacon earlier that day, and at dinner I had, I'll try to put some of the pictures of it up here. There's some, I had the picanha. That's what Brazilian steakhouses are most famous for. Some flank steak and some other stuff. Maybe I should do a video on that just in general. It'll be easy. But the reason I'm coming to you from a weird location today is not because I went to some keto convention or anything, but it's because I broadcast and I live in Shawnee, Oklahoma. And you might be aware that on April 19th, late in the evening, that would be day 3 of my carnivore reset, the day I took my wife to dinner, we got news that a massive storm was coming in. In fact, I was at the steakhouse at the nearby resort casino, which has fairly affordable price for what it does. When I got the weather alert on my phone that we were under a tornado watch. Now, if you don't know what a tornado watch is versus tornado warning, the metaphor people like to use, well, they use a baking one. This is a carnivore channel. I'm big on barbecue, so we're going to use a barbecue one. The equivalent would be a brisket watch. And what's a brisket watch? A brisket watch is where you've got the meat and you've got your spices and rub all laid out on the counter. You got the pellets or the wood that you're going to use to cook the thing in your grill, all of it laid out. But that's not a brisket. Strictly speaking, in a barbecue sense, that's not a brisket. A brisket warning would be you've got the meat in the grill, it's smoking, it's coming out, it smells delicious. You're probably going to have a delicious dinner that night. That's a brisket warning. And then a brisket danger would be you've got brisket on the table, sliced up. Whether it's close to you or not is something you want to is a different story. You may want to go look out your window and get to a shelter. That's a brisket danger. Well, we got a tornado watch, and then it turned into a tornado warning. And my wife and I got home, and it was fine. And where I live, we get those things all the time, and it turns into nothing. And I tried to go to bed, and I couldn't sleep. It was probably my subconscious warning me, or something else, if you prefer a more metaphysical answer to that. I also noticed our house cat was acting kind of weird, and that if you have pets, watch them in these kind of scenarios. I'll let you know. And what ended up happening was about an hour later, my wife says that there was another tornado warning, and we needed to get the kids up and get them in the shelter. So okay, fine. I get us in the shelter because we have one on our property, and thanks be to God for that. And the sirens start going off, and the rain starts pounding, and okay, so this is a real deal kind of situation. Been in those before too, and nothing happened. But I was looking on my phone. We still had phone signal in the shelter. And I could see the storm system, and I saw something on there I had never seen before. You usually see, the weather systems. You've all looked at weather reports. You see the big red cloud. Well, this one had purple dots in it. One of them aimed right at not only the town I live in, but like kind of the neighborhood I live in. That was concerning. Purple dot, bad. Only thing would be worse would be like black dot. That's the worst thing. But make a long story short, at about 9:45, somewhere between 9:45, about 9:30, 9:45, the sound of the hail and rain pounding on my carport above my storm shelter changed to a weird metallic sound. And then the air vents started having water come in, the shelter started having a little bit like raindrops coming in. We let a neighbor come to our shelter, by the way, and that happened before that, and that's when I knew we were in for something real. I'm from the West Coast, not from tornado country, but one of the things I learned was watch the locals in these areas, and the way they act, you will know. And my next door neighbor came to use our shelter with his roommate and their dog, and so there were like 7 of us crammed into our shelter, but it was fine. When about 10:15, when the rain stopped and it had stopped for several minutes, I poked my head out, and hey, my house was still there. That was a good thing. My carport was gone. The power was out, and it looks like the power is going to be out. Like you're seeing this on a Saturday, the power is going to be out for a long time. Probably, they say the power will be restored today, but I still have to get an electrician to hook me back up to the power to the main power grid. I don't know how long that's going to take. So I'm recording this from Tulsa, Oklahoma. I have a freezer with half a cow in it in the house. The power went out Wednesday night, 9:30, 9:45, somewhere around there. I'm not sure how long that'll survive without me opening the door. Probably 3 days is what I hear, maybe 4. So I'm kind of banking on being able to get an electrician in. And worst case scenario, even if the meat goes bad, I want it to refreeze because it makes it a lot easier to clean up. If you know, you know, right? But, I stand to lose $700 worth of meat just from that freezer. But all the meat I was going to eat, the tri-tip and picanha, a lot of the picanha or tri-tip and the tri-tip was all in my refrigerator. Not all of it, but like what the next round that I was going to cook. So yeah, that's gone. But we're living on the road right now. We're in Tulsa, which is about 90 miles from my house, in a hotel. I'm recording this from one of those little business rooms that they let business travelers use. And so my carnivore reset's not on hold. I have to be more flexible. So I've been eating a lot of hamburger patties. And I'm trying to avoid dairy, but if I order a hamburger patty and it comes to me with the cheese, I'll eat it. But I'm not going to go to a place with a cheese spread and eat the cheese spread. I'm not going to go, dive off the carnivore protocol on purpose. But if if I order a hamburger patty or something and it comes with an ingredient that is not normally something I could have by accident, as long as it's not like bread or, the plants that I can just pick off, then, I'll eat it. But otherwise, carnivore reset's still going. For those of you who, feel like compelled to want to help in some way, because, we lost our carport, there's some damage. We've got an appraiser coming out. If you are in the Oklahoma City area and you are an electrician or know one, send me an email in the link in the description box. If you are an electrician who can hook up the power line from a house to the main power lines. Let me know if you or somebody you know is like that. Email me. It's in the description box. That would be most helpful to getting back on track and getting my family home. Beyond that, I'm not big on soliciting donations. I'm not gonna throw a GoFundMe up or anything like that. If you really feel compelled to do so, there's a Buy Me a Coffee link in there. You can send me $5 or $10 or whatever, and it'll be appreciated. But this is not a big solicitation. I will give a shout out to Carnivore Crisps here. They were so immensely helpful. I pitch Carnivore Crisps, a couple times a month, and having all that on hand, shelf stable, not vacuum sealed, but shelf stable. You don't need to refrigerate it till it's open. That helped immensely because I had just gotten my new, my month's supply, and I still had some from the previous amount. So I have a fair amount of Carnivore Crisps, and that has been so helpful. I have freeze-dried brisket that I can just eat just fine. I've got bison and leg of lamb and eye of round and all that stuff, and that has been so helpful. So helpful. That was going to be part of my reset anyway, was on days where I need extra protein, I've got Carnivore Crisps. I can just, have some of the leaner stuff, add very little fat, up my protein levels. Beautiful thing. I was even on set to get my gym stuff back on track too. Then an act of God happened. Anyway, that's the big update for me. The plan is Carnivore Reset's still going. It's just I'm having to be a little more flexible than I was intending initially. Let me know what you thought of this in the comments, please. Like and subscribe if you haven't. It does help. Sharing this on social media helps a lot too. I'm Anthony Stine, the Practical Carnivore. Go out there and eat some meat today, and thanks for tuning in.